Congratulations on the film, Mr.
Thank
Aaron.
you, sir.
It is simplistically beautiful.
Thank you. That's and your use of the word simplistic makes me feel great because I feel like that's what Steve would have gone after. His whole thing was simplicity, sophistication.
And it is, thank you, simplicity, sophistication. It took me about 5 minutes to get into the rhythm. But once I got the rhythm, I'm all for it.
Well, that's great. You know, there's no on-ramp for this movie. We drop you into it when it's already going 100 miles an hour, and I think that it makes you sit forward a little bit. When the audience has to do a little work in their mind, it's exhilarating for them. You know, when they have to be a participant in the movie. So if that worked, it's music to my ears.
Yet it's not. It doesn't. It's smart without telling you it is. Right?
Well, good. I'm glad.
No,
I think if you have to tell the audience it is, it probably isn't.
Correct.
Yeah.
What was your initial attraction to making a movie about Steve Jobs?
Well, I'll tell you, before I knew what I wanted to do, I knew what I didn't want to do, and that was write a biopic.
Right.
The structure of a biopic is familiar to audiences, the cradle-to-grave structure where we have the character's greatest hits along the way, and then they go to a doctor, and then they die. And I wanted to do something else because, again, I think that we've seen that movie before. I like claustrophobic spaces. I like compressed periods of time with a ticking clock, and I love anything that's backstage, that's behind the scenes, whether it's backstage at the White House or backstage, literally backstage at these product launches. So by making the entire movie just 3 scenes that are in real time meaning, of course, that a half hour for you in the audience is the same as a half hour for a character on the screen, I could flesh out some of the human conflicts that Steve had in his life, and that I hoped would illustrate and bring into relief some of the more interesting nuances about Steve Jobs and this whole process. It was one of those it's so crazy it just might work situations.
It could work as a stage play.
I love plays, and that's an interesting notion, but I think that it took a visual master like Danny Boyle to come in, and you know, there are scenes that when you come down to it, it's just 2 people talking, but he and his editor, Elliot Graham, you know, made it look like a bank robbery.
Right.
It was so exciting.
It was great. It's a perfect match, I think. You know, it's a movie about a genius, made by 2 geniuses.
Well, thank you very much, and I'll thank you on behalf of Danny, too. I think we aspire to that. He's there. I'm not quite. But I certainly had a wonderful time doing it.
In your research for the movie, from based on Walter Isaacson, of course, what was your biggest takeaway about Steve Jobs, the man?
Here's my takeaway: that he understood that he was imperfect. He understood that he was flawed, and his products, therefore, needed to be perfect, that his identity was wrapped up in the products, and that if you stood in the way of, if you stood in between him and perfection of this product, he would cut you to ribbons.
Yep. Amazing again. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Wonderful meeting you. Say hello to Palm Springs for me, and I'd love to visit.